Today we shall be talking about Mafia 3, which is the second in the Mafia trilogy of reviews, but it's the third game in the Mafia trilogy.
Well, the first thing I want to mention about this game that I actually really liked was Lincoln Clay's story of revenge, which I found to be surprisingly compelling. Despite the fact that Lincoln is sort of a horrible human being. And what I mean by that is, yes, these people murdered his family. I get it. He wants revenge. However, he literally murders like everyone in New Bordeaux, and yeah, I don't understand why exactly I'm rooting for this guy, because he's sort of just as bad as them, if not worse. Like, the way that he kills some of the people in this game is truly disgusting and grotesque. Also, Lincoln's goals don't really make all that much sense, because he wants to kill the people who killed his family, which I understand, but why does he want to make a mob to replace the current Italian mob in New Bordeaux and have control of all crime? Wouldn't a better goal be to just kill the people who killed his family? Why are you trying to make a mob and have more people's families be murdered? What are you thinking, Lincoln? And I found the gameplay in this game to be rather repetitive and pretty boring, because really all you're ever doing is interrogating people and taking out different areas for your underbosses and destroying shipments. And it got pretty boring pretty fast. Now, just like in Mafia 2, this game has really good graphics and voice acting. But something that is new in this game is that it takes more of a documentary approach to things, in that it will interview the characters about Lincoln Clay's actions and what he has done. And I thought that was actually kind of unique. And while in Mafia 2 there really weren't that many activities to do in the open world, in this game there's a lot more activities to do. There's a lot more side missions, and there's a lot of races to do, which is fun.
Now, something in Mafia 3 that was definitely better in this game than it was in Mafia 2 was the driving. The driving was actually really well done in Mafia 3, and it was pretty fluid and easy to control. While in Mafia 2, the problem I had with it was that it was pretty difficult to control the cars, mostly because they were going for realism. But in this game, I found that they went for fun way better than in Mafia 2, because in Mafia 2, I pretty much hated driving the cars in that game. But something in Mafia 3 that they added that I don't really like is the rear view mirror, because there's really no purpose to it. Like, I never look in the rear view mirror at all, and something I notice is that the graphics and the textures in the rear view mirror are always really low resolution for some reason. I don't know, it's just something I noticed. And one of my biggest problems with this game, if not my biggest problem, is that Sal Marcano is not a very compelling villain, and honestly, he kinda sucks. He's not really that good at all. If anything, he just kinda lets everyone die, and at no point did I think that this man was even a threat. Like, he's sort of a horrible mob boss. He just lets everyone die, and he doesn't do anything. And also, Lincoln is always on top of things. One of my favorite things about Mafia 2 that I never mentioned, but I wanted to and I forgot to, was that Vito is not always on top of things. He gets in danger. He gets hurt. He gets seriously injured at points. That never happens to Lincoln. Like, he'll get injured sometimes, but then he immediately gets on top of things and kills people, and then he's just fine again. Lincoln is not a human. He's a superhuman. He has super strength. He doesn't die ever.
Also, it's hard to make a villain threatening when he's literally in like 5% of the entire game. Yeah. So this game is really, really glitchy. In my first playthrough, I actually had to restart because I got to an objective and then the objective disappeared and I couldn't complete the game. And then in my second playthrough, when I actually beat the game and that was no longer a problem and the objective was there, I was still plagued with a ton of glitchy errors. Like, I would fall through the map and just be in limbo. Definitely my favorite character in the entire game is John Donovan because he was the most memorable character in the game other than Lincoln that was a secondary character, because all the other secondary characters in the game were bland and forgettable, while John Donovan was comic relief and he provided levity to an incredibly dark game, because Lincoln never really has any scenes of humor. He's always super serious and dark. And John Donovan, on the other hand, is the complete polar opposite. He's hilarious in every scene he's in. He has great banter with Lincoln, even though Lincoln doesn't really have great banter back with him. And also, there's these really, really, really funny scenes of him in the Senate or whatever, or like a Senate hearing, where he's explaining the murders with Lincoln Clay. And it's so funny, and I wish that the entire game, the cutscenes were this, because it was so much more entertaining than the story in this game. I'm completely serious. This game also has a pretty incredible soundtrack, with music that I obviously can't play because I don't want to get a copyright strike, but just believe me, this game has really great music that actually really encapsulates the time period that it's set in pretty well. For me personally, the biggest problem with Mafia 3 is that there are glimmers of a good game in here, but there's so many problems and little tiny nitpicks I have with it that it just feels incredibly disappointing for me. And now I shall give my final grade for Mafia 3. Mafia 3 gets a 5 out of 10. Wasted potential. So that was Mafia 3. Probably the weakest of the Mafia trilogy, in my opinion anyway. But then again, I still have not played Mafia 1 yet, so that might not be very good. But I'm hoping it is. If it's bad, I will be very sad. I didn't mean that to rhyme, I just wanted to be good, because I feel like most people like good games, myself included. So yeah, I hope you guys all enjoyed the video. It was a lot of fun to make this, and if you would please like, comment, and subscribe, that would be very kind of you. You don't have to, but it's just a request, please.